Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake. Today, I am not speaking to you as a YouTuber. I am not speaking to you as a commentator. I am speaking to you as number 2478, former Detective Constable Christopher Porter of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Last Division, St. Andrew South. And I am speaking for a man who can no longer speak for himself. His name was District Constable Sylford Bobby Reds Williams. He was my partner. He was my teammate. He was my brother for over a decade. I've never worked with any other police officer this long as I've worked with this man. And on June 22nd, 2026, Sylford Bobby Reds Williams passed away from natural causes. His funeral will take place on Thursday, August 20th. Yes, that's this August 20th. That's when Bobby Reds' funeral will be. Commissioner Blake, I'm appealing directly to you today because I've been informed that Bobby Reds may not receive police funeral honors because he had retired and that he was a district constable. And I respectfully say, sir, there are rules and there are exceptional men whose service demands that leadership look beyond the ordinary rule. Commissioner, somewhere in Jamaica. Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers and Patreon member. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Moving on to today's video. Today, police officers are riding bicycles in communities as part of modern policing. I want you to understand something about those bicycles. More than 3 decades ago, that was in 1993, in the trenches of St. Andrew South, when Onsby was facing serious violence, robberies, murders, and enormous policing challenges, Bobby Reds and I were among the men who helped pioneer bicycle policing at Onsby. At the time, we had no service vehicle. We had a Prism, and our team had a Land Rover Jeep. We go to TNR. Today, we get it in the afternoon. And tonight, the vehicle broke down. We go to work, and we did not sit in air-conditioned offices and write proposal about policing communities or sit and collect statements whilst there were transmission over the radios and various crimes that been committed, and because the absence of the police allow the criminals to roam the streets. At one point in time, we visited a murder scene where we saw a little girl. That was when there was a gang from out by Boat Island by a guy by the name of Brock Up Carroll, and they had slit one of the victims was a little girl. Her throat was slit. And to this day, that vivid photo of that girl, that little girl in that boardhouse in Boat Island, still etched in my memory. We did not sit in air-conditioned offices. We got on bicycles and policed them, both of us. And our call sign of our vehicle was once before the Land Rover. And our call sign was once B7. Once before, that was our call sign. Both of us on bicycles. The first day, I was riding down Marcus Garber Drive before reaching to the train line. I can tell you so many things from memory. That was the first encounter that day on bicycle. A gunman. And that was it. We recovered 2 guns. That was in 1993. When other police officers were laughing at us that we were sweating up ourselves, doing things for an ungrateful job, no reward. But we weren't looking about the reward. We were all about the love for Jamaica. We rode where criminals thought police could not reach them. We rode bicycle, both of us, until the team expand. With Carl Nelson is right here. There's 2 of us alive, and then Kirk Palmer. We entered communities. We recovered firearms, ammunitions. We confronted robbers, murderers, gunmen. We built relationships with residents. We changed policing on the ground. And today one of the men who helped created that legacy is preparing to make his final journey. Bobby Reds. My heart is heavy. I am not an emotional person. But when it comes to Bobby, that is very, very dear to me. And I'm speaking right now, and my eyes are filled with tears. So, Commissioner Blake, my appeal is simple. Please do not allow Bobby Reds to leave this earth as though he merely passed through the Jamaica Constabulary Force. He left something behind. Give him the dignity he earned. Give his family the moment they deserve. And if the rules says no, Commissioner, I am asking leadership to find the way to say yes. Commissioner Dr. Blake, I approach you with respect for the office you hold and with respect for the Jamaica Constabulary Force I once proudly served with honor, courage and commitment. This appeal is deeply personal to me. I'm a former detective, Constable Christopher Porter, regulation number 2478, formerly of the St. Andrew South Division. I was born and raised in Jonestown on Concrete Jungle, Kingston 12. I am from the belly of the beast. I know what some of Jamaica's hardest communities look like before I ever put on a uniform. And when I became a police officer, I did not suddenly begin looking at the people in those communities as enemies. They were Jamaicans. They were our people. They were mothers, fathers, children, shopkeepers, taxi operators, students, business people, and elderly residents who deserve to feel safe in their own communities. That philosophy shaped the kind of policing I believe in. Standing beside me through some of the most important years of that journey was a man named Sylford Williams. Most people knew him as Bobby Reds. To others, he may have been District Constable Williams. To me, he was Bobby to me. That was my partner. That was my teammate. That was my brother. We have been through so much, so many things. Could write a book about Bobby. Those who knew us can tell you stories about us. Good. Some stories will make you laugh. Some will make you even cry. When I enter the Huntsby Criminal Investigation Branch environment, Bobby Reds was there. Through the years, when we were policing one of Jamaica's most demanding areas, Bobby Reds was there. When Bobby was working with me, he had a .38 revolver. And they did not want Bobby Reds to have a 9mm pistol because they said, sub-officers said that he was too dangerous to have a 9mm pistol. And it was when one day, when we were involved in a very serious shootout, both of us. And if I did not have another clip, another magazine, maybe it would be a different, I would not be sitting right here talking to you and Jamaica and people in the diaspora. Bobby stood his ground. That was not the first time, the second, third, or fourth time. But this time it was really, really bad. I had to stand up for him. And when I said to the crime chief that you have to give this man a bigger gun because I need him to be in the same position as I am. Because when bullets were flying, they didn't say that he's dangerous. They were trying to kill us. And if I did not have another magazine, it would have been different. We recovered many guns. The sub-officers, they said they want to speak to the crime chief. Privately, that was retired Assistant Commissioner of Police, Granville John Gaz. And I said to Mr. Gaz right there, if Bobby do not get a 9mm pistol, I am not going back on another bicycle. What we are doing, this is volunteering. We are volunteering to do this. This is not mandatory. We are volunteering to do this. And I want him to get the same kind of pistol as I do. Because his life and my life are equal. My life don't worth more than his. And vice versa. The sub-officers that were inside here, some of them fear Bobby. He was that kind of person. I'm not going to say no one feared me. But Bobby have a temperament. But we were brothers. And Mr. Gaz gave Bobby Reds a 9mm pistol. And from that day until when I had resigned from the police force, he have done some incredible work. Night, day. Even when we weren't even supposed to be working, we were working because we were looking at the stats of where crimes were committed at nights. At the time we should be home, but we were still on the streets. There's so many history about the bicycle team. Former Commissioner of Police Francis Forbes, we used to protect him, bodyguard him, both of us with bicycles. When he drove out of his business place at Landguard Avenue and Walton Park Road in the night, 10:30, it would be Bobby Reds and I riding the bicycle back, two of us, back to Huntsby. Then we'll have to find our way home. Through the years, when we were policing one of Jamaica's most demanding areas, Bobby Reds was there. Through danger, uncertainty, long hours, confrontations, arrest, investigations, and those moments when a police officer simply does not know what is waiting around the next corner. Bobby Reds was there with me. Commissioner Blake, Policing creates relationships that civilians sometimes struggle to understand. When two men repeatedly enter dangerous situations together, something happens. You learn the other man's movements. You learn his temperament. You know when he's concerned before he says a word. You learn when to move. You learn when to hold. You understand one another almost without speaking. And most importantly, you develop trust. I trust Bobby with my life and any other police officer. Because when things go wrong on the streets, rank becomes secondary. The question becomes, can I trust the man beside me? I trusted Bobby Reds, and Bobby Reds trusted me. That's why his death hurts. This is one of the hardest videos I've ever done. But his death also forces me to ask a larger question. How does an institution say goodbye to somebody who helped leave that institution better than you found it? I understand that rules exist. I understand that policies exist. I understand classification exists. I understand that there may be distinctions between serving members, retired members, regular constables, district constables, and different categories of police personnel. I am not asking Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake to recklessly disregard JCF policy. I am asking you to examine the spirit behind the policy, because policies establish standards. Leadership deals with exceptional circumstances, and I believe the life and contribution of Sylford Bobby Reds Williams present exactly such circumstances. The once be we knew, Commissioner, I want to take you back approximately 33 years, back to around early 1993. The center and the south that Bob Reds and I knew was not an easy policing environment. It was an era of serious violent crime, murders, gun violence, robberies, bus robberies, communities where criminals sometimes believe that they control the streets. Resources were stretched. We had no vehicle, no operational vehicle. We had a prison for the CIB office and a Mark Land Rover for the special squad that we were. Both vehicles were down. We had to improvise. We had to think differently. We could not sit at the station waiting for the next report. While detectives were sitting in the office in the air condition, while various crimes being reported over the radio in our police area, crime prevention demanded that we get among the people. And somewhere in that environment emerged an idea that looked simple: a bicycle. Today, August 13th, seeing a police officer on a bicycle may not appear revolutionary, but think about the policing advantage. A bicycle can enter spaces that a patrol car cannot. And at the time, we were in plain clothes, but we were known on the street by police officers and criminals alike. A bicycle gives an officer mobility without completely separating him from the community. An officer in a motor car can drive through a community. An officer on a bicycle experiences it. He hears people, He sees what is happening. Resident can approach him. Children can talk to him. Shopkeepers can alert him. And criminals cannot always hear him coming from hundreds of yards away. Bicycle policing gave us mobility, visibility, accessibility, and sometimes the elements of surprise. That's why we were able to destroy so many gangs all over Kingston 13 and 11. We went as far as to even Kingston 20. We rode bicycle along the dangerous Punishtown Road all the way through Washington Gardens. My recollection, Commissioner, is that the bicycle initiative at Unspear was pioneered at a ground level by Bobby Reds and me, and that other members subsequently became a part of what developed into the Bicycle Squad, Unspear 4. I am not asking anybody watching this program to accept the history simply because Christopher Porter said it. I'm inviting the JCF to check its own history. Go back into the records. Speak with surviving members. You can speak to retired Assistant Commissioner of Police, Granville John Gars, Dudley Bryan. Speak with former supervisors. Examine station records where they remain available. Examine reports. The photograph is there. That's Bobby Reds in the red shirt. That's me. That's former DSP Lincoln Castle, deceased. And that's former Constable Carl Nelson. So it's only two of us from the squad that's alive. Look at the history of bicycle policing at Unspear. Because this is not about Christopher Porter getting credit. This is about giving a dead man his flowers when he can no longer ask for them himself. I am alive. Bobby Reds is not. If there's a recognition to be given, give it to him. I don't need it. We didn't have big rank. There is something else Commissioner Blake needs to understand. We were not commissioners. We were not deputy commissioners. We were not assistant commissioners. We were not senior superintendents. We were men at the operational level. Valuably at the time to Centre and to South. We were the ones dealing directly with what was happening on the streets. And none of us needed stars on our shoulders to care about Jamaica. Sometimes history, remember the person who signs the order, but forget the person who created the idea. Sometimes institutions remember senior leadership, but forget the constable who actually changed something on the ground. I do not want that to happen to Bobby Reds, because there are police officers throughout the history of the Jamaica Constabulary Force whose names may never appear prominently in an annual report. Their photographs may never hang at headquarters. They may never become commissioners, but Jamaica was safer because they showed up for work. Those people matter. Bobby Reds matters. The bus robberies and Commissioner, there was another major issue that shaped our service, bus robberies. People today must understand what bus robbery does psychologically to a community. Imagine getting up early in the morning. You work honestly for your money. Maybe you are going to Coronation Market. Maybe you are traveling to work. Maybe you are carrying school money for your children. You step onto public transportation and somebody with a weapon decide that everything you work for now belongs to him. That is not simply robbery. It creates fear. The people begin traveling while looking over their shoulders. Drivers become afraid. Conductors become afraid. Passengers become afraid. criminals begin believing public transportation belonged to them. Bobby Reds and I took that seriously. Very seriously. We wanted the criminals operated in our area to understand. If you decided that robbing innocent passenger was your career, once we are police, we're going to make that career extremely uncomfortable. We were very aggressive about prevention, aggressive about detection, aggressive about gathering information, aggressive about pursuing offenders. And based on my first-hand recollection of that period, our policing contributed substantially to suppressing the bus robbery problem within the area we were working. I sometimes say we made some of those men find new careers. That is said partly with humor, but the principle underneath it is serious. Law-abiding Jamaicans deserve to travel without becoming prey. Bobby Reds believe that. I believe that. And we police accordingly. Firearms and danger, Commissioner. Our work was not ceremonial. I wasn't photographs. It wasn't public relations. We encountered firearms. Our team recovered weapons. Some recoveries occur even outside our immediate police area. The number of firearms recovered collectively during those years was significant. Some we got commendation, most we didn't. And every illegal firearm removed from the street potentially represent a Jamaican who did not get shot with that gun. That is how we looked at policing. You don't recover a gun merely to increase statistics. You recover a gun because somewhere there may be a mother whose child will never meet the bullet that firearm might have fired. That is police work. And Bobby Reds understood police work. Look what happened to the team. Commissioner, time has been moving. People are leaving us. Detective Constable Kirk Palmer, one of our colleagues, survived being shot multiple times during dangerous police service with us in Riverton City. 5 times. The left side of his chest. I'm on the front page of the Gleaner for that shooting. And it was Bobby Reds and I who chased them through the swamp in Riverton. And that was the last man from the Natty Morgan gang. Constable Carl Nelson eventually resigned. Lincoln Castle, who later rose through the ranks and become a deputy superintendent of police, has passed away. And now, Bobby Reds is gone. Every time another member of that generation disappears, another living chapter of the JCF history disappears with him. And that is why institutions must preserve their history before the people who made the history are all gone. There are young police officers today who may see bicycle patrol as just another operational deployment. We weren't paid. We didn't receive allowance to ride it. We did it voluntarily because of the love for the work, the love for our people. And Bobby loved Jamaican. Some may have absolutely no idea who helped start it decades ago. That's not their fault. They weren't there. But those of us who were there have the obligation to speak. Even the retired Commissioner of Police, Francis Forbes, even when Ellington at the time, he was with Colonel Trevor Macmillan. But those of us who were there have an obligation to speak. And Commissioner Blake, those who lead the institution have an opportunity to listen. He was only a district constable. And now we arrive at that part that bothers me deeply. I have heard suggestion that because Bobby Reds was a district constable, because he subsequently retired, he may not qualify for funeral honors that I believe his service deserves. Commissioner, please hear me carefully. I do not use words only. A district constable. There was nothing only about Bobby Reds. A criminal never stopped before confronting us and said, "Excuse me, which one of you is the regular constable and which one of you is the district constable?" Danger doesn't inspect rank. Bullets doesn't inspect rank. A gunman does not check your service classification before deciding whether you threaten his criminal activity. When we went into dangerous environment together, we went together. When we confronted criminals, we confronted them together. When we recover property, we recover it together. When we responded to public, we respond together. When Jamaica need policing, we served together. I was a police cadet before becoming a regular member of the force. I never treated Bobby Reds as less than me, never, because his value to me was not determined by the administrative category printed beside his name. I evaluated him based upon his courage, his loyalty, his reliability, his knowledge, his willingness to work, his relationship with the community, and whether I could trust him when things became dangerous. And those measures, Bobby stood tall. Commissioner, this is about what we value. That brings us to the larger issue. What does the Jamaica Constabulary Force value? Only rank? Our service? Only position? Our contribution? Only where somebody finished? Or what that person left behind? Because hundreds of thousands of people can pass through organizations over generations. Some perform their duty honorably. Some do what is required. Some become supervisors. Some become famous. But a smaller number leave behind an idea, method, program, culture, or reputation that remains long after they have departed. That is what we mean by legacy. When I look at police officers riding bicycle in Jamaica today, I see more than bicycle. I see Huns Bay. I see those early days. I see young police officers trying something different. I see Bobby Reds. I see the people who believe community policing required us to get close to the community. That is why this hurts. A man leave behind something behind, then dies. And somehow the discussion becomes, does the policy permit us to honor him? Commissioner, sometimes a leader has to ask a different question. Is honoring this man the right thing to do? I am not asking for money. Let me make my request completely clear. I will try and call your office tomorrow. I am not asking for money. I am not asking you to promote a dead man. I am not asking for a statue. I am not asking the Jamaica Constabulary Force to rewrite history based solely upon my word. I am not even demanding that you agree with every detail of my recollection. Investigate it, verify it, talk to people, open the records. But Commissioner, time is short. Thursday, August 20th, 2026. That is the day his family will gather. And I will be there too. That is the day friends will gather. Even four. That is the day former colleagues will gather. That is the day we will say goodbye to Bobby Reds. After August 20th, 2026, you cannot recreate that moment. You can send an honor guard on August 30th and make it August 20th again? You can't. You cannot send an honor guard on August 30th and make it August 20th again. You cannot present the respect at Christmas that should have accompanied his coffin in August. There are decisions that can be corrected later. A funeral is not one of them. We get one opportunity to bury Bobby Reds. One. To ACP Gary Big Boy Mackenzie. We were cadets together at the Jamaica Constable Air Force Police Academy in 1988 when he came. I have already spoken to ACP Gary Big Boy Mackenzie regarding this matter. And I appreciate that there may be procedures and chains of command involved. I am not attacking ACP Gary Mackenzie. I am not attacking the JCF. I am appealing upward because the circumstances demand urgency. Sometimes a matter reaches the decks of the commissioner because only the commissioner or senior leadership acting with the commissioner's authority can look at the totality of a man's contribution and determine this case deserves special consideration. That is what I am asking. If policy says no, and let us confront this difficult possibility directly. Suppose somebody finds the policy and says, Porter, according to the rules, a district constable in these circumstances does not ordinarily receive the particular honors you are requesting. Fine. Then I respectfully ask, what flexibility exists? What ceremonial recognition can be authorized? Can there be an honor guard? Can uniform representation be authorized? Can divisional command be represented formally? Can a JCF tribute be presented? Can the commissioner's representative attend? Can the man's service be publicly acknowledged? Can the historical contribution of Unspe Bicycle Initiative be recognized? If the precise thing I am requesting is legally or administrative impossible, then Commissioner Blake, give the family the highest honor that your lawful discretion allows. Don't simply say no. Find the honorable version of, here is what we can do. That is leadership. To the young police officers, and I want the young men and women currently serving the JCF to pay attention. One day, your service will end. I don't care what rank you hold today. Constable, corporal, sergeant, inspector, deputy superintendent, superintendent, senior soup, assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner. One day somebody else will sit in your chair. Somebody else will drive the vehicle. Somebody else will wear the uniform. Eventually, the question will become, what did you leave behind? Did you improve anything? Did you help anybody? Did you make a community safer? Did residents trust you? Did younger officers learn from you? Did you introduce something that lasted? Did Jamaica benefit because you wore the uniform? Those are the questions that matter after retirement. Bobby Reds has answered to those questions. The people still remember us. Commissioner Blake, one of the most extraordinary things about my life today is that decades after leaving those communities as a serving policeman, information still finds its way to me. People remember. Parents told their children. Children grew up. Some of those children now have children themselves. And somewhere in those generations, the names survive. Porter, Bobby Reds, that means something. Police officers frequently complain that communities don't trust police. So when a policeman leaves an area and people are still speaking his name decades later, study that. Something happened there. A relationship was built. An impression was made. Maybe we weren't perfect. No policeman is. And I say that without any apologies. But people knew we were present. They knew we worked. They knew criminals had a reason to worry when certain officers entered the area. And they knew law-abiding citizens had somebody to call. That is a part of Bobby Red's legacy. My brother. Now allow me to stop talking as a former detective for a moment. Let me speak simply as Christopher Porter. Bobby, I wish you were still here. I wish I could sit down and laugh about the things that happened in those years. I wish we could tell the young officers a story they probably wouldn't believe. I wish we could ride through Once Bay again and look at how everything has changed. I wish we could point to a bicycle patrol and said, look where that idea reached. But life doesn't give us those choices. June 22nd, 2026 came and you left us. I cannot bring you back. But what I can do is speak your name. What I can do is tell people you were there. What I can do is refuse to allow history to reduce you to a line in a funeral program. What I can do is tell Commissioner Kevin Blake, this man mattered. Commissioner Blake, imagine his family. Commissioner, imagine Bobby Red's family at that funeral. Imagine what it would mean for them to look up and see a representative of the institution their loved one served standing there. Imagine an honor guard. Imagine uniforms. Imagine the moment of recognition. He did not receive any whilst he was serving. We didn't. No one gave us, apart from John Gauss. Serve a ticket. Imagine his children, relatives and friends understanding. The Jamaica Constable Force remembers him. That memory will remain with them for the rest of their lives. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine after years of service, after danger, after contribution, after helping to pioneer policing initiative, the answer was simple. He retired. Therefore, he doesn't qualify. You can understand why that would hurt. Rules may explain that answer administratively, but rules do not remove the pain. That is why I'm appealing to the human being occupying the office of commissioner. Leadership is sometimes the exception. This is the hardest video I've ever done because leadership is easiest when the rules already give you the answer. Anybody can point to paragraph 7, subsection 3 and says, that is what it says. Leadership becomes visible when the circumstances don't fit neatly inside the paragraph. The question becomes, can we honor the policy while recognizing an exceptional contribution? Can we preserve institutional consistency while exercising compassion? Can we say, this is unusual, but the history justifies special consideration? I believe you can. I know that this video is long, and I'm asking you to do so. Check the history. Again, Commissioner, check my account. Look into the origin of bicycle policing at Unsby in that period. 2 retired Gazette officers are there. ACP, Granville John Gaz, Dudley Bryan, and there are others. But we are talking about the foundational officers, like Bully Johnson. Look in the origin of bicycle policing at Unsby in that period. Speak to surviving officers. This is one of the photographs that was taken by the Jamaican Observer by a reporter by the name of Delroy Whitehall. And it was on a day when something happened. It was a big shooting, a bus robbery. And that's when Jamaica knew about the bicycle squad. And Unsby said that it was their secret weapon fighting crime. And that's how we gained national attention and was a part of the Jamaica Observer on the front page. Bobby was a part of it. Kirk Palmer went to court that day. Look for operational records. Review firearms recovery, where records remain. Speak to people who served St. Andrew South during that era. Detective Inspector Ruben Gunter is still there. Ask about Porter. Ask about Bobby Reds. Ask about the bicycle squad. Ask about Carl Nelson, Kirk Palmer, who is dead. Ask about bus robberies. Don't honor him because I am emotional. Honor him because the evidence of his service deserves recognition. And if after checking the records you discover that some details in my memory after more than 3 decades need correction, correct it. I am comfortable with that because the central truth remains. Bobby Reds served Jamaica. You work beside us. Especially me. If I'm going right at a house, Bobby's always behind me. He faced danger beside us. He helped police difficult communities. He helped created something that endured. And he deserved to be remembered. A message to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. This is also an opportunity for the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Institutions built loyalty not merely by how they treat serving members, but how they remember those who have finished serving. Young officers are watching, retired officers are watching, families are watching. People want to know that after giving years of their lives to an organization, they will not simply disappear from its memories when their ID card expires. Recognition says, we remember your service. It says, retirement ended your employment. It did not erase your contribution. That distinction matters. My final request. So, Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake, from one policeman to the policeman who now leads the Jamaica Constabulary Force, I respectfully make this request. Please personally review the case of former District Constable Sylford Bobby Reds Williams. Please examine his service. Please examine his contribution. Please examine the history I have placed before you. And please determine whether an exception, special authorization, or appropriate ceremonial recognition can provide for his funeral on Thursday, August 20th, 2026. If full police honors are available, please grant them. If some technical classification prevents the full ceremony, authorize everything that can lawfully and appropriately be provided. Give his family something that tells them Jamaica remembers. The JCF remembers. Hunts Bay remembers. And the men who work beside Bobby Reds remember. And finally, Commissioner, thousands of police officers have passed through the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Many serve honorably, but only a few leave a legacy that people can still physically see decades later. Somebody watching this may see a police officer riding a bicycle tomorrow and think absolutely nothing of it. I will see something different. I will see 1993. I see Hunts Bay. I see a young Christopher Porter. And somewhere beside me, I will see Bobby Reds. Bobby Porter. That is the man we are burying. Not simply a retired district constable, a partner, a public servant, a community policeman, an innovator, a Jamaican, a brother. Commissioner Blake, policies are necessary, but sometimes history places one exceptional case in front of a leader and asks, what will you do? Bobby Reds can no longer ask you for anything. His voice is silent, so I'll use mine. As number 2478, former Detective Constable Christopher Porter, I respectfully ask you, please give my partner the police recognition he earned. Let an honor guard stand for him if it can be authorized. Let the uniform he respected be represented at his final farewell. Let his family know that his years of service were not forgotten. And when his coffin makes that final journey on August 20th, let the Jamaica Constabulary Force be there to say, District Constable Sylford Bobby Reds Williams, your watch has ended. Your service has not been forgotten. Rest well, my brother. We worked together for over a decade. We survived together. We serve Jamaica together. As long as I have a voice, your contribution will never be erased. Commissioner Blake, please honor Bobby Reds. Thank you. Number 2478, ex-Detective Constable Christopher Porter, formerly St. Andrew South Division, Jamaica Constabulary Force. Jamaica Young Police Channel, out.